What's up guys, Brett Medlock here, and today is my second remote play review. I'm doing it on Uncharted The Lost Legacy, which is out next week exclusively on PlayStation 4. If you haven't checked it out, my main review is up already. Sony sent us a review copy, so I was able to get it out at the embargo. So if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. The game looks awesome. You should definitely play it. I gave it a high score. I'll put that review in the description. So when testing out Uncharted The Lost Legacy in remote play, the first thing I noticed I had to do was change the controls, because originally you have to use the back touch to aim and fire, which we all know is horrible. So if you go into settings, it actually took me a minute to find. I wasn't sure there was even a way to change it at first. Similar to Mass Effect Andromeda, that kind of annoyed me. I jumped in the settings. If you go into the control settings and then down to the shoulder buttons section, you can switch it. You're supposed to put it on Legacy. That is the setting that you want for PlayStation Vita. It allows you to use R1 and L1 to aim and fire. Aside from that, you still do have to use the back touch sort of often, which is kind of the worst part of playing this game in remote play. You have to use it for rope swinging, which in this game you do a lot, and you have to use it for grenades, which, as you know, in Uncharted you used a lot. So if you're not really comfortable with using the back touch buttons, there's these like shoulder button attachments going around that you could use on Vita. Then you could switch it back to the original control scheme. I really need to get one of those, but I know a lot of people still don't have those, so I'm not going to base any of my remote play reviews on having those. So as you can see, the game looks really gorgeous on the Vita screen. Unlike Hellblade though, the camera's back a lot further, and you see a lot more of the environments in the actual screen instead of mainly your character. So things can look a little blurry if there's like a lot of trees blowing in the wind and stuff. Luckily this game is pretty much bright throughout the whole game, so you don't really have to turn up the brightness. It still looks good on the Vita screen. One thing I found quite interesting, and I actually used it this way a lot, is after you beat the game, just like Uncharted 4, there's a section where you can pretty much change the whole graphics of the game, and the most notable one, and the one that I think looks the coolest, is when you switch it to cel-shaded mode. This mode pretty much makes the game look more cartoony-like, but it puts this black ring around a lot of like objects and a lot of characters, so it's really easy to differentiate what an object is and characters are and what everything is on the screen, on the Vita screen, if you put it in cel-shaded mode. So I kind of played it like this a lot because it just sort of reminded me that like I could have been playing a game that looks sort of like this, obviously not this great, on Vita and cel-shaded. So yeah, if you're looking, I'll add a little comparison so you can see what cel-shaded looks like against non-cel-shaded. And I just think it looks really good. It sort of reminds me of like Pokemon's art style on 3DS. Since the 3DS wasn't very powerful, they decided to go with a cel-shaded look, and it made the characters pop a lot more, and it looks really good. Just like Smash Bros. So throughout the Pokemon example, it's just like Smash Bros. On 3DS. They add the black ring around the characters just so you can see them more. And it works great with the Vita's small screen. So if you played any other Uncharted game in remote play, this one's pretty much the exact same, except this game also introduces a lockpicking mechanic, and this part of the game actually uses the controller's vibrate function, which, as you know, the PlayStation Vita doesn't have a vibrate function. So it's harder to lockpick stuff because you have to look at the screen and see where the little small arrows are pointing, and there's no indication of if you're in the right spot because the controller can't vibrate. So that was the only annoyance aside from using the back touchpad. I think overall the best way to play, I know it's crazy, I think the best way to play is with the game in cel-shaded mode if you're going to play on PlayStation Vita. It just looks so good, and it just makes it feel more like a handheld game, like you're not actually streaming it. But that's just me. You can keep it on the regular mode. I want to know what you think of these remote play reviews. I'm going to keep doing them for some big games. I still have a bunch of stuff in the works. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.